much time to bring us up to date, tell us all the new things, and then see how we can engage to help them further, if at all. You may not know that. All right, Jake, welcome back.
All right, thanks y'all. Good morning. So I like to present quickly with a lot of energy, and I'm not lying. I have 65 slides, and we're going to roll. So don't look away. I saw that look of disbelief, sir. Yep. It is not going to be boring though. Okay, so we're going to talk through. I have 3 sections for y'all today. We have a timeline to go through. I'm going to talk about the presentation I gave about a year and a half ago. We're going to talk about what's happened since then, and then we're going to look forward. Important dates to think through. Our parent company and now current company have been around since 2001. So we're going to feel startup-y. We have been around a while. StrongKey, our current iteration and current branding, was born a couple of years ago. In October of 2017, we presented at 1 million cuts, and then shortly thereafter closed a Series A round of $10 million that has since launched us on the journey that we are now on. April today, we're going to talk about this at the end. Maybe this is time to pivot with a question mark to talk through what that means. So we're going to fill in that background. We're going to talk about the last 16 months as a funded company. I want to invite y'all into that. This community is certainly one that I really appreciate. I've experienced to be very helpful and collaborative, and for that reason, I love being open with the journey that we are on. We'll fill you all in there, and then we'll look for the future. So we're going to start with the presentation. This is a small segment of what I did last time at 1 million cuts. We looked at Target, and I said, what happened to Target? They got breached. And everyone's like, yeah, I remember that. Like, it was a big deal, and some people got fired, and maybe they lost a point off their market cap. Nothing big. But then we said, well, what happened behind the scenes at Target? There was an 8-person HVAC contractor who provided access unknowingly through a phishing attack to Target systems. And then there goes Target, there goes the payment systems. They keep on living. I mean, I still shop at Target, but what happens to a little 8-person HVAC company? They don't. So to us, we said, well, it's not really about Target. We see that as a problem with small businesses and the security they have, or more appropriately, do not have. And in fact, it's more likely than not that a small business will be attacked. You will see that over half of them experience an attack. Half of those have actual data breached and taken out of them. That amounts to a whole lot of money lost, theft, downtime, brand reputational damages. It's not on here, but somewhere around 1 to 2/3 of companies, depending on who you listen to, will actually go out of business in the wake of a successful data breach. Smaller companies don't have that bounce back ability that a lot of larger companies do. On top of that, they say, well, we don't have enough people, we don't have enough money, we don't have the right tech, we've got all sorts of problems with passwords. I'm sure y'all will resonate with these things. You haven't changed your passwords in the last 5 years. I know you have not. You reuse your passwords across sites. I know you do. That means 4 out of 5 breaches. I don't believe you for 1 minute. Good for you. 4 out of 5 breaches can be traced back in some way to lost or stolen credentials. All right, so that brings us to what we were going to introduce to the market. We saw that StrongKey, our parent company, has been around since 2001. We saw big problems. One of the largest online ticket marketplaces we helped protect. A Western European central bank we helped protect. Surely we can solve it for small businesses, right? Here's what that device looks like. It is an actual appliance with cryptographic hardware in it, protecting your data. For those of you who are technically inclined, we can talk through this. It enables secure file sharing, integrates with any cloud out there. It can help remove passwords. And for the developers out there, this can serve as the backbone for secure application development. So we would contend that this small box, which is, gosh, the size of 2 Apple TVs stacked together, well, it's everything a small business would need to secure their data and everything a developer needs to create secure applications. So when SMBs say, hey, we don't have enough people, this is pretty easy. They have enough money, this is affordable. And when they don't have the right tech, we say this is secure, has been proven for over a decade and a half. We took this to the market. Here's what they told me. Real customer interviews, not real pictures, but real customer interviews. I ran into a dentist who literally unplugs his computers from the internet. Like that's his solution, which, truth be told, is not the real solution. I talked to a chiropractor, he's like, I don't know what I'm doing here. I didn't go to IT school, I went to med school. I talked to a hospital CEO who said that he is terrified every day of ransomware. I talked to a group of attorneys who said we waste hours every week talking about this nonsense and can't seem to solve it. Nice opportunity, right? The story makes sense, right? So let's look at the last 16 months. And then I'll slow down a little bit because that was the backstory. So the first thing that happened following the wake of our investment in December is we decided to be more strong and united as one singular company. And that's because while the different markets, enterprise and small businesses, may have very different buying patterns, the core technology is the same. So that small box that you saw there is the same software stack that we have deployed at national central banks. It's just a form factor is different. So we said we're going to stick as one company, and we're going to align on 4 pillars. They are, I know it's kind of small, I'll walk you through this. This is how you keep data secure. You make sure only the right people can get in. You use strong authentication. No passwords, no shared secrets, no one-time pins. Strong authentication. Then the very last bastion of defense is strong and targeted encryption. You say, I've heard of encryption. I boot up WhatsApp. It says I'm talking in an encrypted way. We say yes, but we encrypt data within an application. So our customers target the data that is sensitive and encrypted within the application. We digitally sign it so it cannot be altered. This is called data integrity, and it's all backed by that hardware that you just saw. You can't protect your keys with software. That is what we think Marriott did that caused their most recent breach. So here's what you see. Of course, you recognize the smaller appliance. Here's the larger appliance. Oh, wait, we go. Here's what the last year and a half has looked like. We have grown our top line revenue. We established a new office in Durham. So we have half of our folks in California and half of them here in Durham. We grew from 7 to 19 people. We introduced that new product successfully. So that small appliance that you've seen is in the market. We built the operational processes to grow. Well, where is that growth coming from? And this now is what we started to wrestle with. This is where I invite you into some of the challenges we are facing. So let's look on the flip side of some of these interviews. Different people, but similar style. I interviewed about 100 people. I talked to a dentist who tried to switch to secure email, and her patients left. They didn't want to deal with it. I talked to a therapist, I think this was, who literally said she keeps her patient notes in Google Docs. And she's like, I know I shouldn't, but we're just a couple people. Who's going to know? I talked to someone who works in the hospital space who said, yeah, we're concerned about security, but we don't control those software applications. And I talked to a zillion people who said we're definitely too small to be attacked. So I got a couple minutes left. I want to share with y'all a few lessons learned and then look toward the future. I think selling to the small business market is like selling life insurance. I got a whole lot of people saying, I know we should do this, but I'm really busy with a lot of other things. And this extends even toward 100, 200 person companies. You've got CISOs who are so consumed with lots of different activities that this falls to the bottom of the list. They say, hey, we're too small. We're moving too quickly in a data breach. Well, that's like low on my list of risks. There's security everywhere. Like, tell me if you are leading your IT procurement, how do you look at a vendor landscape like this and understand what exactly to buy? And lastly, that complexity of the market and cloud providers out there, Amazon, Google, Microsoft, they've entered this space and are doing what we do on a component basis. So what we are talking about now is trying to convince the market we're right. Do I try to dispel all those myths, or do I find a market that already loves us? And this is where I say pivot with a question mark. Where we look at going toward the future as our company is instead of trying to ship a pure product, we say, hey, look, that product can be commoditized, but our thought leadership cannot. We just got done presenting to one arm of the U.S. government in Hawaii last week. We are one of only 6 companies across the country selected to try to solve an enormous challenge. I told you we work with multiple national central banks. That stuff cannot be duplicated. I thought we were educating the market, but we were banging our heads against the wall trying to be something that we were not. And we weren't recognizing in time that the market has changed and new competitors have entered there. So now it's time to understand and own who we are. We've got a really strong foundational product, those boxes, those appliances that you've seen. We've got really brilliant people in the organization, and I think our core competency is problem solving with that product at the bottom of it. And that brings us to today. So maybe we'll do this again in a year and a half and kind of see what the update is from there. We're super pumped. I got 2 folks on my team here too, so you can see what they think as well, the real story and not from the talking head up here. But I'd love to stay in touch. If you want to follow this along, here's some ways to do so. Particularly, we call this out. We have a nonpartisan educational resource called the encryptedweb.org. If you know or are a developer yourself, this would be a really cool place to learn how to build secure applications. All right.
Well,
good?
we got it under time.
Yeah.
Okay, open it up to questions.
Sir.
What's your ask market
Thanks. So I think one of the clear ones here is, my experience in this group is that there's a lot of people who are indeed in the services business. We are this weird hybrid where we see growth through both product and services, and we're trying to figure out what that's like. So I'd be really interested in talking to some of y'all who have walked that journey before, what it's like to scale through both people and products, because clearly people is a limiting factor when you identify around services. The second thing that I would ask is indeed around the second bullet. This is not a sales resource. This is a place where we share our open source company. We share our API documentation. We say this is the right way to build applications. We love places like AU because that small appliance that you saw is so affordable, and if I can find companies who are willing to build security from the ground up, really can make this stuff secure. We've been around for almost 2 decades, and some of the biggest companies in the world trust us. We're truly global. And if I can just convince people to start building that in from the beginning, maybe we can start putting an end to this, gosh, how do you get a vendor landscape like that? The problem gets worse every year. So we think we have an answer to that. We would love to talk to that. So number 1, stories of growth through services. Number 2, developers, startups that you know that might be interested in building this into what they do. Is that Brenda?
Yeah.
Hey!
Yeah. I came here just for you today, too. So.
It's wonderful to see you.
Long time to talk. So you mentioned that you have disparity of customers where they have different buying patterns, right? Like technology is the core. So from a sales perspective, I'm curious, how do you manage that?
Yeah, so I think that question probably slightly rephrases how are we managing it, because we're thinking very live about that. So I'm gonna give 2 quick stories that illustrate how wildly difficult our sales process is. So in Feb, I was in Spain visiting one of our customers along with our CTO and founder, and we also were visiting with a partner that we had here. This partner has someone in his network who works in the payment processing business, so they need to secure credit cards. This guy's a very small business, can't afford a lot of security out there. He sees a small appliance like this, it's like, this is it. We take him out to dinner, great dinner, we talk for 3 hours, we whiteboard, we explain everything. Our founder is brilliant, he's one of the few thought leaders in this space. We leave Spain, this guy's like, I can't wait to buy. And we send him an invoice, and it's a little high for him. We send him a revised invoice, and that's a little high for him, and then we find out that it was just a lot easier for him to pop on to the cloud environment. Now, simultaneously, I just told you that we just got done spending a full day with a significant portion of the US government who is asking questions left and right about what we do. And it's like, how do I reconcile the desire for someone who cares about security that much versus someone who invested all this time in and eventually tells us to get lost? And I think that answer is partners for all the smaller ones who have already established a whole lot of trust and are already embedded in these places. So when you are a CISO, you can't look at that vendor landscape and try to understand what a new one is all about. You turn to your guy or your girl and you say, like, what out there do I need? So on the sales perspective, for the very high-touch, customized thought leadership sales, we are working very directly with customers. And for all the smaller ones that are more productized and more standard, we're working through partner networks and building a partner network, to be honest. Jessica works on our sales team. Is that right, Jessica?
Yeah.
Am I good? All right.
Okay.
Thanks for the information. Yes?
And quick question, your competitors, because I see a bunch of them, how do you see yourself in terms of this, a bunch of them who are doing pretty much the similar thing to yours, and how your competitors doing the same thing like you're doing right now? There's a bunch of them who are doing the same thing similar to yours. How do you see yourself next 5 years from now?
Sorry, there's a what doing something similar to ours, please?
Yes, to your space, yes.
Just how we differentiate against the competition?
Yes.
Sure. So you are right. There is a lot of competition in this space, and I would classify our main competition as commoditized offering of what we do. You can find encryption, tokenization out in small ways. And the other thing is something that's very technical called hardware security modules. It's likely I never heard of this before in the industry. Banks use these to protect their keys. And we compete in 2 ways. Way number 1, we are open source, which means we have no licensing fees. We have no per user fees, no per application fees. You buy the appliance, you pay an annual subscription, and you use it to the max. And the max is big with us. So we become very appealing when you start looking at transactions that ping you every time you call it. key or call an encrypt transaction or anything like that. The second way we compete is through how easy we are to integrate. So there's a lot of technology out there that is indeed secure, but requires engineering time and understanding to build around it. Think of it as buying an automobile engine, which is a totally legitimate thing to buy, but then you got to make decisions on how to build the car around it, how do you design it, and how do you actually do it. In that same analogy, we sell the whole car. So the way we work with developers is exposing very simple APIs. This is a true story. We have had one of our customers, CTOs, show up to one of our installations with a stopwatch because he did not believe his team could do this as quickly as we claimed they could. And I want to say the number was around 62 minutes. So we often can get installed and integrated in a day to a week, 2 weeks, while our competitors are months and more expensive on an annual basis. So we differentiate between cheaper, operationally more easy and saving money there, and then open source licensing, which is cheaper and easier to break into the market there. It is a crazy space. The largest security conference is just a circus of noise and marketing, and really wonder, like, how do people make effective decisions in this just insanity? I really think the security industry has done a bad job of making very clear messages about what's going on, because the problems getting worse every year. Yeah.
So 2 questions. The first being, how much is the device, and what is what is an annual contract that you have?
Sure. So questions around pricing, and Brenda will testify if we learn anything in our MBA program is to say it depends. And it depends.
Yes.
So for the small business and startup side, I can get people up and rolling as cheap as about $5,000 a year. Those deployments can go up to $25,000, $30,000, $50,000 a year, and the largest deployment we've ever had is up to $500,000. So it is big, and that is a challenge from time to time, because you want to be able to cater to people who just want to get up and running, and you want to cater to making the business sustainable.
So then to that, what is your ideal client? Like, who do you really, I know it's hard with something like this, everyone needs it. Everyone could use it, but who are the people that for you, it's that sweet spot of being able to help them and having the resources to really do that?
Absolutely. So today, who that is people that I go to them and I say, hey, you can't do key management in the cloud, and they say, I know. Don't talk to me anymore about that. That's the people who already love us. They hear what we are saying, and one of our core business values is we do security the right way. And when we don't have to convince them to do that, then we are golden. I spent days and dinners with central banks who are pouring their security guts out at us because they want us to solve their problems. So what that looks like, practically speaking, are heavily regulated, large environments. Big banks, big governments, militaries, particularly we have a sweet spot where different entities need to operate together across lines. Now at the same time, the ideal education market for us is what's up and coming next. So these small little devices can be deployed underneath your desk, and also spin them up in the data center and host them in a secure way, which means developers, if they wanted to do this at the beginning, it is so easy to build a password-free application to secure data within hardware with hardware protecting your keys, and is way easier to do at the beginning than trying to unwind something that's already set. So I would say our ideal education market right now are people looking to disrupt the space. I'm never going to be able to call up QuickBooks and convince them to change their entire architecture to use these appliances. But if I'm talking to a startup who's trying to disrupt the online accounting space, then man, this is yet another differentiation they can build.
Yeah, thank you for that. As someone who, I had a business where basically everyone needs it, but who actually can pay for it. So I think it's really good that you're looking at that pivot, and that's easy because you can't go talking, again, the whole day in your head against the wall and expecting a different result. So I think really leaning into that, because I think for some of this, because I work with a lot of smaller businesses, and what do they actually want to, like, they want to solve this pain point, but you may not be at a price point for them where they're comfortable for that yet, right? What works for you, what do you need to do, right? So
I affirm all of it. I'll leave it on. I agree completely. Sorry.
What, if any, impact is there on application response time, and more importantly, user response time?
Yeah, great question.
Does it
slow
us down? Or
so technically it does. Practically, no, it does not. So we've had people do, use my terminology, replication over the Atlantic Ocean from South America to the UK, I think it was, and response time was no problems at all. If you're particularly technically inclined, this large appliance does 1,000 transactions per second. So a way to practically think about that is if you threw it underneath your cash register at your online commerce store, you can handle 1,000 credit card swipes every second. So the capacity is quite high. The encrypt, decrypt that we use, we've just moved to elliptic curve cryptography, which is quick. And the biggest pushback we have had are people who are thinking about their applications that are deployed in AWS or Google, but are thinking about how to do their encryption tokenization separately. And we've begun to identify partners that can do a direct fiber optic link between a single tenant hosted environment here and a multi-tenant cloud, such that again, latency would not be a problem. So if I were being completely scientifically accurate, yes, it does slow things down, of course, to encrypt things. In our customer base, we have never lost a sale because that's been raised.
But hardly noticeable.
I'm sorry?
But it's hardly noticeable.
Agreed. So far. Yep. Agreed.
I used to have a retail store, and I had a national point-of-sale software that I was using, and they told me that I had to use a specific device for my firewall. And if I attached anything else to my system for security, they couldn't certify that my system would work properly, and I may have other issues. And I have a brother who's a dentist who has a similar thing that he uses for his patient database, and was told you must use these certain devices for security. Don't use anything else. We know this works with our system. This is certified. Don't mess with it. Have you considered partnering with? You talk about banking and a specific banking software that says, okay, this is what you're supposed to use. Because I was told as a small business not to use anything else but what they were telling me to use.
Yes, I think that is a great insight. And there ain't nothing wrong with being an ingredient kind of product. And I think that's where our sweet spot can be. So when I was kind of walking through some of these actual conversations with people like, yeah, I care about this. So this guy up here, it's not saying exactly what you were, but it's similar. He's saying that we've got, I don't know, 24 different pieces of software that we use, but I don't have any engineers that touch them. And so here I come to him and say, don't you want this magical box that can secure all your applications? And he says, yes, but I don't control the applications. So I would take your observation and say, for us, what this means is that instead of talking to banks, we're talking to companies who are making banking software. You're talking about how this integrates into the products that they have.
We had like an IT provider who basically did all of that. I was not making the decisions on what products are coming in. Sure, I chose the original software, but I wasn't making the decisions on the rest of the stuff. They were telling me this is what I needed to use.
Yeah, I've experienced that as well. And we run into the challenge that we are, here's the best way to think about this. If you don't have access to the application code right now, you're probably not the company you want to talk to. And so I have applications that can do secure file sharing. We are working on that. Maybe a year from now when I come and talk to y'all, we'll have some market traction there. Right now, the best fit I have is with the developer market. I think I'm not maybe not directly answering what you're saying, but there are some things that you were saying that resonate with what we're going on. Partners matter, trust matters. You're busy, you're getting conflicting advice. Yeah, I get it.
One final question.
So, I mean, as anti-hacking and security software and hardware gets more and more sophisticated, so too do the people who are doing the attacks, right? How do you propose to keep your hardware system ahead of the people who are being more sophisticated?
Yeah, it absolutely is an ongoing thing. And so one of the misperceptions that I had about security before I was in the industry is I thought it was binary. You're either secure or you're not. It turns out it's a whole lot more like securing your house. So is your house secure or not? Well, you can lock a deadbolt. You're kind of secure. You can set a security system. You can dig a moat. You can hire some guards. You can throw some crocodiles in there. It's a spectrum. And truth be told, a lot of the spectrum is how can you become more secure than your neighbors so you push bad actors off to other people. The way that we stay abreast of things is a tech team who's always out there learning, developing. We have quarterly releases, responding to bugs, patching, etc. We're also heavily standards-based. So we have done several reference projects with NIST and the NCCOE. We do not develop our own proprietary technology as best as we can. So we operate on, there's a software stack called Bouncy Castle that is cryptography. So operating within these large communities of standards that are shared and widely adopted and ratified also really helps us. And that way we're not locking ourselves into this one path where if half my engineering team walks out, we just lost all of our thought leadership. Yeah, it's a challenge. And nothing bad happened yet. But it certainly was an escalating thing. I would also contend that there are aspects of security that are non-negotiable in that they are the best thing to do. Protecting keys with hardware is the best thing to do. And we can worry about how much that may or not be broken, but when the vast majority of the market is not even doing that common sense stuff, it's kind of like a little cart and a horse. So we're continuing to innovate, but I think there's some market and psychology problems with security that need to be addressed before that. Sweet.
All right, with that.
Okay, I'll catch you later.